What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. Today I want to focus in on what the Pittsburgh Penguins should do as the deadline comes closer. Obviously, last year they went all in, getting a Ginla, Morrow, and Murray, and, didn't show up to the conference finals. I think they're still waiting. I'm still waiting for Pittsburgh to show up, but, that being said, they lost Pascal Dupuis for the season. They have a gaping hole in that top six. Bo Bennett's been hurt, and when he's been out there, he's been not effective. Not overly effective, I should say. What I'd do is, I don't think they're going to get Vanek. So just scratch that out. But I think Mike Camilleri is a legitimate argument can be made for Mike Camilleri. I think he'd be the perfect complement to Crosby. I think Cammy come up, he was playing when Kopitar was coming up, so he knows what it's like to play with an elite center. Obviously, Crosby's better than Kopitar. Don't spin my words, but I think he can be had for less than Vanek. I don't know what the specific things are, but Pittsburgh still has a okay farm system, where they can give up an asset to get Camilleri. And to be honest with you, Camilleri cashed in on that big deal in Montreal. He's made his money. I think he wants to chase cups, and I wouldn't be surprised if he signed Pittsburgh long term and took the proverbial hometown discount, because that's what, you're going to need that. I think it's a good fit for both sides. We'll see how that works out. I said the same thing about Ginla, but that's really what I know. But I think again, it could be around peg and around hole. Finding a top six forward is tough, because most of them are signed long term. Most teams don't want to trade their guys, and finding a guy that fits, as a proverbial round peg and around hole is not very easy. But he's a good player, Camilleri. Bottom line, he scored 40 goals a couple times, at least once, maybe twice. And, someone said Thomas Fleischman to the Penguins. I think the Panthers have to eat some of that salary. Actually, he's making less than Camilleri. So, see what happens with that. I think anytime they're taking on salary, the team trading would have to eat some of it. Meaning, Pittsburgh might have to throw in another asset to entice them. But, someone asked me about them going after Jaromir Jagr. I don't think Jersey's trading him, and that reunion's not happening. To quote Taylor Swift, we are never, ever getting back together. But, Ray Whitney's another one that makes sense. I wanted Whitney to go to Pittsburgh about 4 years ago. I thought that would have been a good fit. And he stayed put with Carolina and then signed with Phoenix and Dallas a couple years later. But, I thought Pittsburgh or LA 4 years ago, 2010, would have been a good fit for him. But, again, goes to show you what I know. It's a guessing game. You can sit around all day and just pick guys out. I mean, Matt Molson would be an awesome pick up with Pittsburgh. I believe Pittsburgh drafted him, and then he ended up in LA's system for a while, and then ended up in the island, and the rest is history. He's obviously with the Sabres, but they got to go out. They need another top six forward. I don't think it's within the organization right now. I think they have to go out and get a guy, and I think again they are a legitimate threat for the Stanley Cup. Once they get to the playoffs with Flowers, inconsistent goaltending, and can the offense show up in big series against the Boston Bruins is another question. But I think right now, the way this team is constructed, if they add a top six forward, maybe add a depth defenseman, I'm not saying they got to go out and get, Ehrhoff or Keith. Yeah, I talked on the Bruins piece, Keith Yandel possibly move him out of Phoenix, but they need some depth on D. Help the young kids out, buy them some time. Letang injury is scary. That could be a game changer. Personally, I think Letang will be back. Maybe not this season, but Teddy Bruschi came back from a similar thing, and even in the last 10 years, technology's improved, and I believe Letang will be back. And hopefully, for as a human being, I hope he's okay. Hockey obviously comes second in those circumstances, but I think they can move some things around with Letang in Letang's absence. But they just need another depth defenseman. They don't have to go crazy, but it's just something to keep an eye on. And Shero's always dealing. He's always working the phones. He was in on Rick Nash. He was in on Parisi to the last minute over the summer a couple of years ago. So both obviously a couple of years ago. So that's never count out Ray Shero on anything. But that's on this episode of the Power Play with CJ on what moves the Pittsburgh Penguins can make with the looming trade deadline. Stay tuned for more episodes through the season and beyond. Later, guys.